when they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need to worry. There is no need for dread. It's just time to discuss the thing at the foot of the bed.
Good evening, and if you're just tuning in, you are listening live to 105.3 out of Mississippi and 107.7 out of New Orleans, and this is The Thing at the Foot of the Bed on UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. And I'm one of your hosts, and my amazing friend and co-host to the right of me, depending on what side of your device you shows up, I'll pass it over to you to get some of the housekeeping things out of the way. My name is Lorilei Potvin. I am a host, obviously, I guess, if I'm here on this network, but I'm the host of my own show on Monday nights, Angel Rock, from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I am coming up on my 5-year anniversary on this network. It has just flown by. Love this network. I'm a Canadian psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer. My mouth's not working. It will start working. I'm a psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher, and mentor. I'm a registered nurse. I'm also budding animal communicator. I'm well versed in the paranormal. I always say we went looking for it. It found us. We shared our story on the Travel Channel's Paranormal Survivor Season 4, Episode 9, called Demonic Hauntings. I'm also well versed in near-death experiences, having had one as a toddler, and I've studied them professionally and personally for over 40 years. So if you guys like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. This network's been around for 25 plus years. We stream multiple shows daily, 7 days a week live with different hosts. And when we're not live, the archive server dips into the shows from the last 25 plus years, randomly picks shows and shares them with everybody out there that's listening. I think even watching. I'm pretty sure you can watch on YouTube and stuff like that as well. There really is something for everybody. I believe we have almost 50 hosts on this network now. Sorry, guys. Backward. I don't know, Dave, you got something live there? It's kicking in already.
No.
Go ahead.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think I'll move my phones and stuff. You guys let us know. Hopefully we won't have double playback here. Hi, Jennifer M. So please like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends and family. There really is something for everybody here. So if you guys want to watch us on TV, the network has its own TV channel on Roku. You just go to the channel store and type in UFO space P as in paranormal. And you're going to be looking from the drop-down list where the third or fourth one down, you're looking for UFO space paranormal and United Public Radio. And you can watch us there as well. And if you want to comment, like I said hello to Jennifer M already. We got Julia Evans. She's over in the UK. I believe it's probably 12:30 over there right now at night. So we appreciate everybody that's popping in. But 80% of our listening audience is audio only. And we actually broadcast to every country in the world, this network. And I always tell people, especially with the Angel Rock, because we don't do guests on this show, but I'll tell them don't go by YouTube and Facebook's numbers, because our amazing manager for the station, and she's coming up right next with her second night of her show, The Outer Realm, Michelle DeRoche, has been giving us our numbers, and we've got quite a few in the hundreds of thousands of people watching, which we're very grateful for. But we would love to have you guys join the conversation. So how you can do that, you can head over to UFO Space Paranormal and United Public Radio Network on Facebook and YouTube. David is streaming to his YouTube, which is the Spirit Experience, and his Facebook page, which is They Whisper to Me. I'm streaming on my Facebook profile under Lorilei Potvin. It's pinned at the top and it's public, so anybody can watch. Also to my YouTube, The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin, and we're streaming to Canada's Most Haunted. Also, I am streaming to the Angel Rock on Instagram. Instagram does not integrate its comments, unfortunately, into with the rest of the platform. So I will pop back and forth to say hello to you. I'm not ignoring you on purpose. And I'm not sure if they fixed the problem yet. They were only letting us stream for an hour, and then they cut this show's 2 hours. So hopefully they fix that, because I don't see the warning message anymore. I think I've remembered everything. So go ahead, Dave. I think I remembered to pick up my little tick-off list here.
Did you tell everybody who you were and what you were?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Thank you, though, because I'm tired tonight, so I could have forgot.
Who is she and what is she?
Yeah, whatever.
My name is David Hanzel. I am a spiritual medium, near-death experiencer, near-death survivor, however you want to put that. I channel, I do all that fun stuff. Do the same thing pretty much that Lorilei does, except Lorilei does some energy work that I do not do. So if anybody's interested in energy work, there you go. That's your gal. Otherwise, I don't really do the energy work that way.
Yeah, but you do different stuff than I do.
I do a different kind of
Even
stuff.
your readings are different than mine. Everything. That's the cool part about people doing this work. Everybody does something different.
Exactly. And that is about it. That's it for me. And I guess we should say hello to the people who are in the chat right now. So we have Jennifer M. Hello, Jennifer M., which we said hi to again. Julia Evans from the UK, we believe. Miss Julia Jean Bassett. Look at that. Miss Julia Jean Bassett is also a shamanic practitioner and a medium as well. And
animal communicator.
Yep, animal communicator. We have Contessa Martins, and we have Nicole Thomas Ryan, who ought to be an animal communicator, because Nicole does something that is very beautiful for everybody who's listening. So please be like Nicole. She is a rescuer of the feline community. Mm-hmm. She makes sure that cats are always okay. And then we also have Ruth Kleber. Hi, Ruth. Nice to see you. And then and there's Nicole again. And
you know what else she does too? She's got such a big heart. She works with little ones too. So
and she also works with children.
Educating our future. So that takes a special person to work with little people. That's for sure. I got to tell you about a show I watched.
Okay.
I just thought of this. So I look at all kinds of things, true crime, try and stay on top of a little bit what's going on in the public eye. Not so much new stuff, but in the world of Hollywood and what have you. And I follow this channel, Popcorn Planet. He's been coming for J-Lo, because J-Lo spent $30 million of her own money and has this documentary. Everything she's done is flopped. She even had to cancel her summer tour, and she basically put this documentary out called The Greatest Love Story Never Told, and put it all out there, and it flopped. Okay. So anyways, he keeps saying his name's Andy Signer, the guy that runs the channel that he's on. It's pretty sick. He's done really well, and it's pretty interesting, the stuff that he does. But anyways, he says, I don't hate her and I don't wish bad things for her. But he's brought it up a few times because it's newsworthy. And then he brought up about the documentary of Celine Dion. And I will tell you, for those of you who may not know who she is, I'm sure most people do. If you've watched the movie Titanic, she sang the theme song. She's a French-Canadian songstress, had a residency in Las Vegas, has been around for years and years. One of the most powerful, beautiful voices. And she made an announcement a few years ago that she was going to have to take time off to look after her health, that she has a very rare illness. I've never heard of it as a nurse. It's called stiff person. I think it's called stiff person syndrome.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
She put a documentary out. I don't usually cry very easily. I was sobbing at the end of this last night. And she didn't put it out for look at me, pity me, feel sorry for me, but she showed it all. I was terrified for her. I won't give it away, but watching towards the end of it, because I was like, oh my God, is she even breathing? Like, it was that bad. And I was like crying and sobbing for this poor woman, because her life is music. And the funny thing is, you see people out there, right, that look like they have it all. They've got money, they've got fame, they've got this beautiful voice, they're so talented. And boy, and again, it wasn't meant to be a sad story. I think it was mainly for her fans to let them know why she's not back yet, not able to tour, and what was going on with her. But holy cow, David, what a movie. Oh, Contessa said the same thing. She goes, I just watched it last night and it broke my heart. She goes, I cried. Yeah.
Yeah,
So touching.
you see that in human nature a lot. And by all means, if anybody ever thinks that this is karmic payback, it's not. That is not how karma works. But there are a number of people that you see, someone like Celine Dion, which I don't know a lot about her music. Of course, I've heard it. And of course, her voice is absolutely beautiful, pitch perfect, just amazing. And it's such a lesson to have that, not even the money. I'm sure she could care less about the money and the fame at this point. It's her voice. That's part of her. And, and to have that gone away, you wonder why. It's kind of like there's people in this, on this earth too. They'll be born into all this money, and at the end of their lives, they lose it all, or it's the reverse. And it's just so heartbreaking how that happens and why. So I have to say this, that I think someone like Celine Dion is very brave and is very courageous. And
she was, David, like she didn't have a makeup on at times. She was going through some of her old tour outfits, and she had something, I'll basically label it as a medical crisis towards the end of the documentary. And they even asked her during it, and I don't know how she could answer and without giving it away. And she let them know just by being able to squeeze one of her medical people that was with her hand. He said, do you want me to stop the cameras? And she said, no. She lets you see it all. So a few things, like I said, Contessa Martin says, I just watched it last night and it broke my heart. Jennifer M said, I can't wait to see it. I love her resilience. And that's good that you brought that up, why sometimes bad things happen to good people. People will ask that, right? But Julie put this out there, and I have to agree with her. She goes, and she probably did this to educate people on
exactly.
She'd never heard of it before too.
Souls don't take on stuff like that just to be hurt and all that. They do it for educating people too. I mean, we have various, diseases and such. I used to say my brother died of lung cancer and a brain tumor, and it was too late. And when they found it, it was way too late, but he kept putting it off. But I kind of feel, because of the fact that he did that, there's a lot of people that I'm sure his doctors and stuff talk about saying, this is why you get checked for things, so you don't do this. So I think even when bad stuff happens to us, it does educate other people. So I think someone like Celine Dion, or anybody who gets anything that happens to them medically, I think in my eyes and from a spirit point of view, I think they're heroes.
Well, I think from my perspective, from a spiritual perspective, I kind of feel like she's an older soul.
Oh yeah.
She's talking to, I forgot, she was born into a family of 14 children. Yeah. In this little tiny place in Quebec, good French Canadian Roman Catholic family, probably just like my dad's family, because my last name is, I'm actually French too. So she did speak a lot of French, and there was good subtitles, but could understand pretty well everything she was saying, because she couldn't speak English. But she had a very controversial start, right? And she even got into that about how resilient her mother was and her father. And there were times that she had nothing to cook dinner with, but her mother would pull out some flour, and all that was in the fridge, she said, was carrots. And so she'd bake up this beautiful carrot pie, and her mother and her talked about it when she was grown herself and had children of her own. And I believe Celine was the youngest, and her mother said, I just was dreading somebody saying, ew, what's this? I don't want to eat it. And she said, every time, every one of you just said, oh my goodness, Mama, I love this. It's so amazing and it tastes great. But she said, we had so much love and we had music. So she's lived through some hard times. But where I'm talking about the controversy is her manager, who was with her since the age of 12. And he was married at the time and had a family. He divorced his wife and they married and had 3 children. But when you see her, that man was the love of her life, and he's passed away. She's got 3 young kids. I don't say young, but her oldest is probably about 20, 22, and her twins look like they're about 14 or 15. Like it just seemed like she's had a lot of hardship. Where I was going with the spiritual stuff, sorry, I got off track there, is I think she's an older soul. Never
Yeah.
mind, probably where she was born astrologically. I have a friend that's coming back up on the Angel Rock, Carmen Turner Schott, and she's written a book, the eighth. It's called something the 8th and 12th houses, and it says and fallen angels. And originally I wanted to have her on because how does fallen angels go, the theory of fallen angels go with astrology? But she was talking about she has a real interest, some people where the majority of their signs are in the 8th and 12th houses, and depending on people's characteristics, the reason why she calls them fallen angels, it's people mainly with their signs in the 12th house. These are the people we meet that say, like, I feel like I don't belong, like I feel like I don't fit in anywhere, and a whole bunch of stuff. It's quite interesting. Hi, Shannon. So it's pretty interesting. I think she's an older soul. I think she probably chose these things, obviously, and again, for many reasons, to educate people, to inspire people, right? And again, even like you shared about your brother, David. Obviously, no doctor would ever speak about your brother, but they could say, I know somebody who put off having diagnostic testing and very sadly lost their life. So it helps a lot of other people through your
even my mom, when she goes out and somebody says they don't feel good, she always says, go to a doctor and get that checked, because you don't know. And it's true. You don't know. And I believe that anybody who has a disability, especially these really hard ones, I do believe that they're strong enough and they handle it and they know what they're doing, and they are old souls from a spiritual sense.
The hard part was her whole life is music, like just music, everything, like, and not to be able to sing anymore. It was kind of sad. I didn't mean to start off on a sad note, but I had to share that came to mind. So Contessa says, I've never heard of what she's suffering from. I've worked in healthcare for many years. The first time I've heard of it. Hi, Shannon Casey. Speaking of healthcare, she's a nurse too. I'd never heard of this before. Roger Garza is here and says, hello, my dear friends and everyone. I have a really rare tumor I'd never ever heard of in my right upper arm on this side. So sometimes we get rare things, like
things happen for however they happen. I just don't even question it anymore. I just let it happen. I'm like, what else can you do?
Hi, Kathy Hanley Little. So Dave and I were talking, and I know we left off on Ouija boards last week. We also had some videos, but we were going to talk about Ouija boards. There was something else we were talking about too, Dave. What were we talking about before the show?
It'll come back. But I wanted to tell you, I had wrote this thing. If you guys can see it, those aren't there. Anyway, we were talking about divination and how divination is it's all in how you use it. I don't think anything is evil in divination. I think it's what we don't know that makes it scary or something. But I wrote this a while back, and I had my little charm out too as well. And I'll play with it later maybe. But like I put yes on top, no on the bottom. I put
spirit boxes. I didn't mean we were going to think about spirit boxes. Sorry, I wanted to throw that in.
No, that's okay. And that's good because I said spirit, so that worked out.
That's a heavy, I think.
And I have spirit on one side and I have ghost on the other. I have in your house on one side and in your mind on the other. The reason I have those, and that sounds really weird, but I've used that before with them, where I asked, where are you right now? And some will say in your house. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense because I kind of feel you're kind of right, buddy. And some will say in your mind, which I am not quite sure what they mean by that. But for me, I think more or less, if it's in your house, I would most likely peg it up to be a ghost because it would be closer to this world. It'd be closer, more in the astral plane. And if it was spirit, it would be in your mind or in your heart, actually. But I didn't want to put in your heart just in case a spirit wanted to be weird and say in your mind, just to be woohoo. But anyway, that's a form of this. And it's another form of divination. So if you guys have if you guys have a little rock, why did it escape me what these are called all of a sudden?
Crystals.
No.
Pendulum.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. The word
But you don't
pendulum.
need a pendulum. If you have a
No, we don't
necklace
need
that
it.
you've
Yeah.
worn, people have used screws on
No,
a
a
chain.
pendulum is anything that swings. That's a pendulum.
Or what about, you can use your body as a pendulum, or the other
Your body
thing
is a
too,
pendulum.
don't
Yeah.
people remember their grandmothers or great grandmothers' story? You know, everybody would gather around the pregnant family member, and grandma would pull out the needle on a string and ask if it was going to be a boy or a girl, and depending on what way it swung, that's
Yep.
a pendulum.
That's a pendulum. It's all pendulum. And those and you know, it's really funny. It was probably the same ladies at the party doing that with the babies, but think what we do is scary. It's like, well, you're doing like some witchcraft there at the baby shower, my dear. You know.
Well, I hate to tell people, but Christianity is based on old paganism and things like that. So not just Christianity, a lot of religion actually.
Yeah, a lot of religions. Yeah.
So
But
Contessa
anyway,
said, yes, my mom did that with the needle. You know what else I thought about? I haven't had a chance to talk to Dave a lot this week. But
and look,
you know what else?
Jonathan too.
Oh, hi, Jonathan. Welcome.
We were talking about you. Your ears were
I
burning.
was looking for him Monday night, and I forget. Oh, because I had a guest, and that is looking to be on different podcasts. I said, well, usually Jonathan pops in. I guess you were busy Monday night, not laying a guilt trip or calling you out, but I just wanted to let you know we were thinking of you. That's all. Oh, yeah. Nicole says my nutritionist had me use my pendulum to pick the supplement to buy. You can, or you can use your body if you don't want to whip out a pendulum and you know, try and pick. You can do muscle testing, all kinds of things. Jonathan says his ears were ringing. This is the other thing I wanted to share with you guys. Kind of spooky for you guys. A new spooky show I found out about. It's called Dead Boys Detectives. And it is based on, I believe, either Neil Gaiman wrote the script, probably some sort of book about it. It's about two ghosts that lost their lives, one of them in 1913 and one in the early 1980s. And both of their deaths, they feel they wrongly lost their lives. The 1913 gentleman ended up in hell for 50 years, not by choice. Now, this is the story, of course. And the other guy, too, lost his life, and nobody really tried to solve the case. Nobody tried to do anything about it. And so now they're hiding out from the accountants of death, trying to find, because everybody's accounted for. And the woman that is the head of the accounting agency on the other side, on the veil, she used to play Rowena on Supernatural. That's how I found out about this. My partner Del was telling me about it. It's actually a really interesting story. I think I'm into the third or fourth episode, Dave.
What's the name of the show?
Dead Boys Detectives. It's on Amazon Prime. And for example, they're staying in a rooming house, and the one guy, there's a witch that they were trying to take care of, and the 1913 guy, I forget what his name is. I think he may be gay. Not that that matters, but back where he came from, it was not something you could talk about. 1913. Anyways, he ended up finding a neighborhood cat, and he used a magical spell on him and had the cat leashed. Anyways, long story short, there was a cat king that became human, took human form, and has put a cat basically handcuff on them. They can't leave the city. And also they're working on cases. They're trying to hide out from death, who's trying to find them and make them cross over. And there's a whole bunch of little scripts going on. But anyways, one of their new roommates, she got infected with a paranormal parasite. And it's actually pretty funny. I think they're part of the fairy realm and stuff. Check it out, you guys. I'm not doing it justice, but it's pretty good.
Did you see Dead Like? Have you ever watched the series Dead Like Me?
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, me and my dad, when that came out, well, it was a little after it came out. It's before he moved down to where I am now. He moved down here about 2 years before I got here. Mm-hmm. But we binge watched in like an entire day of the whole thing. That was a really good show. That was a fun show. I like shows like that. They don't take them too seriously. They just kind of give you a smidge of this, that, and the other thing.
It's kind of addicting, this show. So Jonathan thinks they were nymphs. Now, to me, I kind of felt like they were part of the paranormal, but the fae, I'll say, not fairy, the fae realm, because you get all kinds of different characters in the fae realm. So, but they're captured in a jar, and they're so sassy, and sassy's being nice. Like the language is colorful a little bit from them, and it's
Yay.
pretty interesting. They got a medium in there too, a medium that is a real medium. It's a little hokey because every time she connects to the other side, her eyes roll back in her head, and they take this white film over them, which is a little. Both of us doing mediumship, it's kind of like, really now.
Yeah, I can tell you this. I have never in my life, not that I've seen every medium in the world, but I've never seen that in real life where our eyes roll back in the back of our head and turn white.
I'm wondering maybe if they did it, though, for people that are watching that maybe don't know a lot about that, so that they'll be able to differentiate when she's actually trying to connect with the other side, like really.
It could be. Plus, it could be. Plus,
wait. The other part I was going to add versus connecting with the dead boys detectives, because she talks them all the time. So every time she talks to them like real people, they're there all the time. Her eyes don't do that. It's when she's really connecting to the other side that happens.
The only show I didn't care for was Ghost Whisperer.
No, I never watched that.
Yeah, I did not like that show at all. I thought that gave the most unauthentic way that mediums see dead people. I mean, I thought it was kind of weird, but fun nonetheless. I get hooked on YouTube Doc Hellier recently.
Hellier, I'm going to have to watch that.
I heard about
that.
I
saw an advertisement for that, Hellier, and I didn't watch it. I'm going to write that down. Thanks, Ruth.
Yeah, thanks, Ruth.
I like the
lighthearted, spooky, fun shows. I like those.
No, there was a documentary on YouTube. It was in the South somewhere, and it was weird. There was a little bit of religious tones to it involving ministers and stuff. It was called Hellwater. Was it Hellwater? I forget. I mentioned it on the Angel Rock once. It was quite interesting. Okay, this is the one we were just talking about, Contessa. Did you ever watch a show? Oh, no, Medium. We didn't watch Medium. Sorry, that was different than
I saw Medium, but that was another one. It was an entertaining show, but I didn't think it was anywhere near real life.
Well, I think it's to each our own. I couldn't get into Medium. I tried watching it. I'm writing Hellier down. Okay, so eyes rolling, seeing, like Diane says, full mediumship, letting spirit be 99% channeling. I don't agree. Seeing it, plus I've seen a lot of people channel, and I've seen real people channel that don't even close their eyes. They don't.
No, yeah, channeling. Yeah, I think people misunderstand, and they think whenever somebody channels that their voice changes, or they think that, and that's not true. It can, and that doesn't make it non-wrong. I'm just saying it doesn't for all. Some people just close their eyes and they're just repeating stuff that's given to them. And then there are people who get that connection. It's like merging the energies together. You just relax and you're aware of all the words coming out, but you just don't even really know what you're saying.
I know some people that don't remember, some people that do. Yeah, there was a really good place to watch different channelers is the Next Level Soul podcast. If you go into playlists,
I watch his. I like his show. I do.
Well, I was just going to say though, because we had brought up Bashar, Mr. Anka, that I forget what it is. It Daryl Anka that channels Bashar. So he does it differently. His voice changes a bit, but there's all different kinds. Like there was a girl from South Africa that was really intriguing, and how she got into channeling and what happened to her. The only one, and I never say somebody's a fake or anything, I wouldn't say that, but it leaves me a bit suspect. There is one gentleman in there that claims to channel Saint Germain. And I think we've talked about this one before, Dave. So I'm sorry, but I really don't believe he was really humanizing Saint Germain, saying that he wasn't basically mingling with the rest of the souls on the other side, that he's reached a higher level, which possibly could happen. And so the host says, so like, were you guys like, were they all kind of like at a bar? And he goes, yeah, that's exactly what it was. And he was sitting off on his own, and all the other ascended masters were all basically talking smack about him. And I'm sorry, but I don't believe that goes on the other side. There's
No.
nothing but love. There's no
One
room for talking smack.
One of my favorite channelers I saw, and if you can see it on YouTube, but it's back from 1960 something, I believe, and it's Gordon Higgins. And I am really big on, I study and probably learn more and watch more from people over the pond. I just love that spirituality there. But Gordon Higgins did 2 characters. Now, and the one that you see when they bring in Gordon Higgins, it was well known. He was losing, he couldn't hardly walk anymore. He was getting really old. He could hardly walk, and they literally brought him in like just, he wasn't in a wheelchair yet, but he could barely walk. And they brought him onto the stage and he did his speech and all that. And he channels 2 people during that. One, the name is Patty. And Patty was a Irishman or a Scotsman. And it's entertaining to watch. And he's got this audience out there, and it's just amazing what he says. But the good one that happens, and this is how that I think that they really knew, he was known, he could not walk very well. He couldn't do anything very well. He channeled this, and I don't want to sound ignorant, but it was a Chinese gentleman, I can't remember his name, somebody from like the Crystal Dynasty or something. But that gentleman that he channeled would give a speech about the workings of spirit world and all that. When he did, he would stand up. So he would literally, it was like watching Gordon Higgins stand up and walk around perfectly normal. Yeah. And they're like, people are going, we do not know how that is. And they had doctors there because they were trying to go, we have to see what's happening. They tried to find out what's happening with his body. But
that can happen. Like Diane, she goes, it can, though. A man came through speaking with an Indian accent. I have seen people's accents change too. Like, I think it just depends. The way I believe, and Dave will throw his 2 cents worth in here, I'm sure too, is that spirit works best with you as an individual and how it will work best for you. For example, Jonathan, you mentioned watch the Skull Experiment. I've watched it.
Love the Skull Experiment
many times.
Yes. Best show. Anybody watching right now, go watch the Skull Experiment. If you don't believe in anything, that is the show to watch. That is the good show to watch.
So I'm just looking at the comments. So Nicole, for example, and maybe these are just the people that you're meant to. I think we also find what we're meant to be watching at the time we watch it. It happens, right? She says a lot of channelers I've watched lately have more of a robotic sound when they channel. That can happen. Like I said, I think like I was shocked because I always, from in the beginning when I started watching channelers years ago, I saw people basically go into kind of like a trance, and then they kind of wake up and they can either their voice can change or it doesn't. But when you ask them afterwards, they don't really remember what it was about. They put themselves completely off to the side and allow the soul to come through, or collective. A lot of them channel a collective.
And that's what most of it is anyway. Most of it is kind of a collective.
And then so it just depends. Then I was shocked as all heck when especially the more and more I watched, like some people can go back and forth, like literally connect, and not close their eyes, connect, and it's not them speaking because their language, everything is completely changed, and then they're able to switch back and forth. A lot of people can't do that, but I have seen people do it. I've seen people.
Oh yeah, there's a gentleman. Did you ever hear him? He channels. When he channels, he speaks the sentence real quietly and then says the sentence, speaks the sentence and says the sentence. Did you know what I'm talking about? I can't remember the name.
I know who you're talking about.
He can go in and out. Yeah. He's been on Next Level Soul a lot. I like that guy. I watched him a long time ago. It took me a couple times watching him before I realized how to actually listen to him, because I would just ignore one of his voices and only listen to the other one because I would get confused for a moment. But yeah, even when, I don't do like channeling like that for shows or anything, but even when I do like angel channeling, when I do the channeled email readings, I have to lock my door in my room, because I used to not do that. When like other people in the house, I wouldn't even hear somebody come in the room or anything. I'd just be typing away. You just get super duper focused. And I think that's kind of what channeling is, though. You are super duper in that state of focus where you're letting something just go ahead. You trust it completely and you just let it.
That's what automatic writing is. I mean, I can do automatic writing too. And like Roger Garza said, I wasn't looking to channel something to that effect. It basically just happened to me. I think it happens to most of us that way. We're open to it. I mean, I guess if you really want to channel, David and I aren't special. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we're not special. All of us are special. But what I'm saying is we all have the ability to do these things. Some of us, it comes naturally. Some of us have to work a little bit at it, right? But it doesn't mean that we've all got an intuitive side. We've all got different gifts. So Shannon, you're going to have to tell us more about this. I haven't heard this. She goes, I just watched Midnight Mass on Netflix. It was interesting. Was it scary? I don't like horror movies.
Midnight Mass sounded familiar. Paul Selig, that's his name.
That's Paul. Yeah, that's Paul. Yeah, that's the name, Paul. I'm positive that's who you're talking about, Dave. Paul Selig. Yeah. Thanks, Ruth.
Thank you, Ruth. Yeah, that is absolutely the way it goes. I had something I was going to say and it went out of my head, but we'll bring it back.
Nicole loved Midnight Mass. She said, I was going to go back. Sorry. So Roger said something about he was supposed to be Mandarin. And then Diane Brighton says, I took a class on mediumship in 2016 at University of Toronto. My father, I visited, he is in a classroom on the other side. Oh, interesting. Well, that could happen. There's a lot of things we can do as human beings.
Well, here's something you guys should know. Whenever you are in that state where you're super happy and you're doing something and it's just everything's going well, you're literally channeling your higher self at those moments. So, I mean, human beings channel all the time. Writers, poets, musicians, they're always channeling, you know. Mm-hmm. They don't take credit for it on the other side, but it's getting channeled through you, these things. You know,
so
that's
Diane
how
Brighton says she finds full channeling personally creepy. That's okay. It's not for you. It's not for you.
I think young kids, when they come in and they can play instruments, I think at some point that they're channeling a spirit. They don't even know it.
It could be who they were in past life. Could be, right? Our higher self knows everything you've done.
Well, that's what I mean. Well, when you're channeling would be channeling your oversoul or your higher self. So their higher self knows how to play the instrument. It could be channeled through you, but who knows how? But it's amazing, and I love it.
I was just talking about my brother. I don't, for too many reasons to get into, but I don't have a lot. I don't have anything really to do with my family. But I will tell you, I always say I got the artistic side. I couldn't sing a note to save my life. My brother, from the time we're 15 months apart, he's younger. From the time he was about 6 or 7 years old, he could pick up any instrument and play it. And he's got a beautiful singing voice too. He always says he never knew he could sing until he had kids. And then he said he started yelling. I don't yell, but whatever. This is what he tells people. And he can sing. He's got an amazing voice. I would, and especially my name, meaning coming from the sirens, I'll tell you, I'd sure make sailors crash if I saw, because they'd be trying to get away. I'm a terrible singer. So, like I say, and again, where did that come from? From my brother. Like he can play any instrument. He's never had a music lesson. Never been taught how to read music. He can read music. He can do all this stuff. Right?
That was me when I was younger. I could play a lot of instruments, and I can't play them anymore. I forgot.
I do know people that have channeled archangels.
Yeah, so it's for me.
I'll read the question, Dave. Roger Garza is wondering, has anyone tried to channel an archangel? Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
I have a certain view on the whole angel thing. I look at angels as a collective, but they do come in singular, and I don't put angels higher than one another. So, I mean, some people would say that you couldn't channel an angel because it would be too powerful or something. I don't know. I don't know for sure. I never talk to, I talk to archangels. I mean, I talk to the ones that we know, but even they've told me over and over, like anything you're talking to can come out as a collective as like Michael. So, and it's basically archangels. This is what I've heard from them. they're there for a reference point for human beings, because we need a reference point. We really do. We need to know, because I studied the hierarchy of angels, like, the cherubs and all that other stuff and what they each do. I understand that. But if you would actually ask an angel something, an angel would say, we're no better than anybody else.
Because we all come from the same place. I was using this analogy on Monday night.
Exactly.
It's very simplistic. So say we take God, source, whatever your Allah, whatever your belief system is, where we come from, and say he's made out of clay or Play-Doh, whatever you want to call it. I'm not being disrespectful here. So God, source, we'll just call him God. Okay. I'm just going to use that because it's easier than keep repeating over and over all these different names. But that's what I mean. Or source decides they're going to create a universe. So they take a little bit of the Play-Doh from their own Play-Doh body and they create the universe and everything in it from the Play-Doh. That really, really made me, looking at that analogy, say, I understand why we're all a part of each other and why we all come from source. We're all made, if you will. And that's very simplistic. But what I'm trying to say is that's where angels would come from as well. Right. So we really are all a part of each other with what
everything's all a part of everything. Yeah, I always use the analogy, like I one time took a squirt bottle. I told people, okay, inside this squirt bottle, this water in here, that is source and everything. But if you spray it and it comes out all separate, it's still part of that. It's just all separate.
It came from the same space. So I wanted to
gathered it all up, you would still have the same thing.
I love that analogy. That's a good one, even better than the clay, Dave. And that makes a lot of sense.
No, I did that one on TikTok.
No, but it makes a lot of sense, right? Because when you spray it, it all separates, but it's not different than where it came from.
It's all the same. Yeah.
So I wanted to address this comment with Diane Brighton. She says, it feels invasive to let a male spirit come through. For you, it may feel that way, but you have to remember that you've more than likely had many, many past lives where you have been a male. You have been a female. If there's anything else that you've been to, we don't always just incarnate on Earth. So it's just something to share with you. It doesn't, and for you, that may be, and it's okay if that's how you feel about it, that's how you feel about it, right? But you have been a male before. So that's all I wanted to say. Did you want to add anything?
It depends too on how you look. Yeah, Lorilai's correct. And it also kind of depends, Diane, just so you're not afraid of it or think that it is invasive, because it's really not. Because when you're channeling, it is not a possession. And a lot of people think it's a possession. It is not a possession. It's literally blending with spirit. I do it on a daily basis when I do readings. So does Lorilei. That's how I get the information from them. It's kind of like if I had an aura and they had an aura, our aura's kind of mixed right here. And that's how I get the information. And the same for channeling, kind of, if you want to look at it. It's not exactly, but it's kind of, you're just letting that aura come over you. So it wouldn't really be invasive. If we look at it from a human point of view, it feels like we're having another gender come into our body and mix up everything. And it's not. It's really not. Plus, you're only having the emotional part of a spirit. You're not having the body of a spirit. So you're having a masculine energy come into your body. And every one of us is masculine and feminine. Some of us are just more feminine in this life or more masculine in this life.
I like this analogy. And I'm going to go to Roger's question. Nicole Thomas Ryan. Channeling like holding hands. You connect, but you don't change. I like that.
Yes, absolutely. Very good. Ding, 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 ding. It is kind of like holding hands.
So Roger, you said it's the same as a seance, meaning channeling is the same as a seance. I would say no.
No.
Kind of, in a way, depending on how it's portrayed and what you do, I guess. Like if you're going to sit there and I'm not being facetious here, but in the movie Ghost, where Ida Mae, Whoopi Goldberg, sits there and pretends like Patrick Swayze jumps in her and she, you know what I'm saying? I guess because she was holding a seance. A seance, basically, you're connecting collectively with energy. You usually have a group of people and you bring forth or speak to, I should say, other people on the other side or other spirits on the other side. You want to add anything? So it's not the same as channeling. Channeling, you're usually connecting with a higher collective or a guide or something. And as far as I know, and please correct me, guys, I don't know everything, but to me, channeling, you're usually sharing some type of wisdom from the other side, or answering questions if people have questions or whatever, a message maybe from the other side that is positive, loving, and will help others, or it could just be a one-to-one, like in the interviews on the Next Level Soul podcast. Alex, the host, is asking questions of the people to whom they're channeling and receiving the answers back. So whereas the seance is kind of like mediumship in a group, if you will, it's not gallery readings, because you know who the spirit belongs to with the collective of the group, right?
Yeah, no, when I do channeling, when I do events, mediumship reading events like that, like a gallery reading, I don't channel, because that would be a little different. But because I'm getting my information from the spirit, giving the information. But you're correct. I agree with your analogy, Lorilei. If in channeling, it's getting into a certain state in your body and your mind and your brain that you're very receptive to things. I know even with if you look for my NDE.
No, but he wants to know, I'm going to stop you just for one sec. He wants to know, is the seance the same as channeling? And I'm saying no.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No. I don't agree. No, I wouldn't think it is. No, that's a whole nother different thing.
That's what I was trying to explain. Sorry, I didn't mean to stop you there. But
but yeah.
But channeling just one. No, because somebody that's channeling, you could have a group channeling, I guess.
No, you channel a collective. When I do angel
No, but you could have a group also with your energy channeling. I mean, it might be a little different. You might get a whole conglomeration there, depending on who. But I guess if you set the parameters of what you want, right? But you could.
No, you're right. Because when I've done mediumship before, and I've had like 3 or 4 of their family members here, they will sometimes literally all say something at the same time. It comes in one voice. It comes in one. You know what I mean?
That would be a collective. But
that's a collective. So they're saying
a collective. He was trying to understand the difference between a seance and channeling. Plus, the other thing is, I think we're doing it with human beings in a seance, trying to connect to the other side, usually with a medium or somebody running the seance, versus channeling. You're having somebody connecting again to the other side. But again, it's usually a collective. And I feel like you're not, I guess you could channel somebody higher. I don't want to say higher up, because we just said nobody is better than anybody else, but ascended masters or a collective. It's usually wisdom. It's answers to questions that humans have, say, about the other side, or life lessons, or messages of love, positivity, hope, what to expect in the future, like things like that. It's usually about information, isn't it, when we're channeling?
Yeah, because even like in the skull experiment, Diane Brighton said something which is very right. I agree with you, Diane. You said seances are full mediumship. You're still in control. That's true. We're always in control. A medium is always in control.
But you're in control when you're channeling.
When you're channeling, you're also in control too. It's almost like hypnosis. You know what's happening, kind of. I mean,
I think this is the differentiation, but not always too, right? Yeah. Because it's not hard and fast. Yes, when you are doing mediumship, you're hearing it. And when you're channeling, we've all thought in the beginning, channels go into a trance and don't remember it. We've just talked about Paul Selig, people like that are fully aware of what's going on and connecting to the other side.
No, he's fully aware when he's doing it. And now in some seances, Roger, seances are very interesting. If a lot of seances, they'll have, or like the skull experiment, they had a physical medium, a real physical medium. Now it's I don't know if I agree that it's something you can't learn. Some people say physical mediums are just born as physical mediums, but if it's a real physical medium, the other side uses them to produce noises, to produce sounds, to produce that other people can audibly hear. It's not just coming from out of the medium's mouth. They can literally hear the voices in the background. So I don't quite know how all that works. I am not a physical medium.
Paranormal, that can happen too without a device, right? So like you don't have to have a medium. You don't have to have.
No, it's different than it. No, it's way different than EVP in a paranormal investigation.
I have seen full blown conversations in an investigation, not personally, but have watched, and people that I believe not to be frauds. And you can literally hear them an answer to a question. It's not just a random woo or crying or whatever, like full blown yes, no answering. I've seen that. Like, don't get me wrong, it takes a lot of energy to do that. So it's hard to say. Like Contessa asked too, is automatic writing a form of channeling? I would say yes. Yeah, David said yes too. I would, yes.
Yeah, we both said, yeah, you get 2 thumbs up from Siskel and Ebert. Yep.
Yes, yes. Yeah, but maybe for you, Diane, like you said, that's the channeling I did, no longer in control. For you, that's how your gift works. It doesn't mean, I don't think there are hard and fast rules with these types.
I don't think there is either, really. I can tell you that I always say this. If you are a beginner, you have no business channeling unless you've actually learned everything there is to learn about it, or unless you went someplace and the spirit world decided they were going to just come through you at that moment.
Well, Roger's sharing that, and I believe that because Faye, his wife, has talked about it. He goes, when I channeled Faye's brother-in-law, it was like I was pressed to the back and came out not knowing what happened. I have seen that happen too.
Yeah,
definitely.
I've had stuff like that happen too. Sometimes when I've done some Zoom stuff, and I was interviewed by another show one time, and I didn't want they wanted me to channel my guide, and I was like, well, okay, if he does, otherwise I'm just going to repeat what he says. But I was sitting there and I couldn't get out what he was trying to say. So I finally just said, oh, come on. And basically it feels like somebody's face is coming through the back of your head, and it covers my face, and it feels like their hands like covered my hands, not literally, but you can really
feel that's how that works, right?
Yeah, that's how it works for me. It feels like someone's coming into my body, and then I can just relax. And then if I relax, I just know what to say. I always tell people when I do the channeling in my mediumship readings, like when I talk and they go, you sound just like my mom, and you said that. Not like their voice, but like their addiction and all that stuff. It's because you can get to a certain point of allowing. And I have trust in Roger. Roger says, right, David, exactly. So, okay, so you have that experience too. It really feels like someone's coming in and coming over you. And it's not scary feeling at all. It's actually very energizing. But I always tell people it's like they took the thoughts from my head, my David thoughts, and they put them in a box, and they said, these are the only thoughts you get in their mind. And then you just repeat them.
Okay, so I just looked this up. Nobody so far on Uncle Google here has given me the difference between a seance and channeling. But what they keep talking about, the difference between a medium and a channel. Medium, a living person who communicates in some fashion with the spirits of dead people. I would agree. A medium may conduct seances, or may communicate directly. They're using John Edward as a famous person. So in this one, it says a channel, a person who allows a non-physical entity to enter his or her body for the purpose of communicating with living people. I don't agree with that, though, because we've seen that not happen with people who are obviously channeling. Like, her name is Belinda. I forget what her last name is. She actually comes from the science or business world, and she actually channels a group of archangels. I forget what she calls them. I think it's Sheila Gillespie. She's got to be in her 70s. She was one of the first people to come out at the time when channeling came out in the 70s. She connects with a collective. I have another friend that's a medium. Now, does she trance channel? Because that would be trance channeling, where you would basically close your eyes, you go to sleep, and then you open them, and the person, it talks completely differently, uses different language.
All channeling does involve trance. You have to get to that.
I don't know, David, because there's a girl, that's where I was going with this. So Sheila does that. What I was talking about, this Belinda goes into a trance, but I have seen there's a girl by the name of Michelle from South Africa.
Oh, trance channel. No.
Yeah, trance channeling. Yes, you do go into a trance. It's in the name, but not when you automatic write. You don't go into
not when you automatic write. You don't have to go to trance. No, you don't.
So, I don't think there's hard and fast rules. So what I'm getting from spirit is kind of what we've said. As a medium, yes, you're connecting with once living people, spirits from the other side, but you can also connect to a higher consciousness, to people's guides, to their higher self, whatever you want. But channeling, I don't know, that's the way they gave it to me. Like, it's usually like, if we take Alex Ferrari show, the Next Level Soul podcast, right? Usually when people are doing a channeling session, like say if they're doing it with a group, or you're sharing a message or I'm sharing a message, we're either answering something or imparting some type of wisdom or something from a collective usually.
Yeah, the collective. Yeah, it's mostly, it can be, because just like most deities over there, if you ask who are you, it's like, well, we're everybody. So it's like everybody's everybody.
Like Esther.
This is one thing. I have to say this from my point of view, in my wheelhouse, mediums, when we do mediumship readings or mediums, we deliver information through the clairs. That is what mediumship is, just using the clairs. That means you're getting it in through either clairaudience, claircognizance, clairvoyance, clairaudience.
Well, people listening may not know what the clairs are. So through your ears, you're hearing, tasting, smelling, feeling.
Clair means clear. Yeah, clair means clear. So the other side is coming through the medium's emotions. So their sight, their inner hearing, their inner feeling, or sometimes like mine is physical feeling. Some people, there's a lot of people who get physical feeling. It's not just a weird thing. It's a lot of people do. That's to me is a medium. When you channel, when I get in the channeling mode, nothing is coming in through any of my clairs. It's just there. It's hard to explain. I think Roger might know what he's talking about. It's like you didn't have to search for the information. It was there. You don't search for it.
I have to agree with you. When I have seen channeling or myself done, I don't do physical channeling, but I've done many an automatic writing. You don't search for it. It just,
you don't search.
Like even when you're writing, you can start with a question, and before you know it, you're not even aware you're writing anymore. It's just coming through. You don't have to think about it. You're right, David. And I think that would be a beautiful way to describe it.
That's the only way I know how to explain it.
And okay, so Julie says a medium is also a psychic, but a psychic is not a medium.
Well, all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums. Yeah.
And then I think this is a good question too. Nicole said, do you think there are other gifts that people can have that no one has seen yet? New ways to channel or new ways of divination, etc. 100%. Yes.
We are so in agreement on that. It's scary. That's how we are.
Because that's the point we're trying to make here. We're trying to define something based on what we've seen or what I'm trying to even read to you guys, but there's always an exception. There's always something different. There's always something we've seen. So the only way I can give it to you from what I'm getting from my guides right now is when we are dealing with the other side, okay? And if they're not way up here, literally you could put your finger through the veil and they're there, it's that close. But what I'm saying is they're going to work with the individual, whomever you're connecting to, in the light and love on the other side, okay? The best way you can receive it, and if the message is meant to share, say to help with healing with another individual, whatever it is, they're going to give it to you that way.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter, like they're not going to look up in their book, okay, this is what we do for channeling, okay, we're going to do this. No, none of that. So yes, there could definitely be new ways. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And Roger says, I didn't know beans about him, the gentleman that Roger was channeling, but they told everything was right on. Yeah, because it's, like I said, if it's channeling, it's pretty foolproof. I mean, if you're channeling.
Mediumship's the same way. Most of the people we read for as mediums, we don't know who we're connected to. We haven't got a freaking clue.
Yeah. Sometimes I do mediumship readings. I get freaked out. So, I mean, I just, there's certain
because
things.
you go, no, there's no way in your head, and you're going, and then my guide will remind me and go, remember, this isn't meant for you. You're just kind of like the connection, like it's meant for the person you're giving the reading to, right?
Diane says, I was warned by Mark Anthony Medium that mediumship can destroy your adrenal glands. I disagree. I don't know what that is.
What
I
you believe becomes what, or what you perceive.
Yeah, whatever you believe is what's going to
becomes
happen.
your reality.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
believe that could happen, but I think we have to remember that no matter, even listening to us, okay, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. Feel into something that you see and you hear what other people say. Does this feel right? Does it seem like it could be true? Do your own research. Connect with, ask your own other guide, your guides, your own team. They'll come through. We can all connect to our higher selves and our guides. Even if you don't think maybe that you're receiving it, best place to is even before you go to sleep. Ask them that you're wide open then.
Yeah.
Your team can
I
come
try
through.
nowadays more and more, because I've had one of my guides say, he's like, he always told me, trust the science, but also know that science is always advancing too. So even a scientist will say what was true on Monday might change on Wednesday. So
I
it's
say trust yourself, that if it feels right and it makes sense, great. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Okay. The other thing is too, be open. Just because you haven't heard of it, you haven't seen it, you haven't experienced it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But maybe for that person that you've shared about Mark Anthony, maybe for them, it is true.
It is. Well, she said she's having adrenal problems now.
Well, like I say, I don't have adrenal problems. I know David doesn't have them, and I have many friends that are mediums that don't. I've never heard that before, but does it mean it doesn't exist? No. But I'm sorry you're having problems. I'm going to go back a little higher. The adrenal glands are affected by stress. Absolutely. Julie Jean Bassett. Does mediumship cause stress in the body? The one thing I will tell you, I have a friend that is, I believe, not practicing anymore. He is a nurse and he's got a doctorate in neurology. Dr. Chuck, I forget his last name. My brain just went blank. He did a research study and he thinks he's located the area in the brain where intuitiveness, mediumship, psychic abilities exist behind the left ear, called the region of psi, PSI. He's also done why a lot of us sometimes feel very tired. Say we spend a couple hours doing readings, not always, because we can learn to manage energy, but he's actually done physical testing of your blood sugar if you're doing this type of work right at the beginning and a half hour later. And he said, if I remember, this is his show, my first year on the network here. He said, I believe over 90 to 95% of people that are doing readings like this or doing this type of work, their blood sugar drops dramatically. His advice, keep something sweet if you're allowed to, if you're not diabetic or something, like a piece of chocolate or something. Heck, even Harry Potter tells you to, books tell you to eat chocolate after they.
I do. Do you know what I have to say? There is, you know what? There is something
Kennedy,
to
Dr. Chuck Kennedy. Sorry,
I can do mediumship reading after mediumship reading after mediumship reading, and that doesn't affect me at all. What does affect me are sometimes psychic readings when I have to do tons of them in a row. If I do, because like if you ask Lorilei, I go on TikTok, and in about an hour I'll do like 20 to 30 sometimes psychic readings, and when I get off, my energy's down. But after a mediumship reading, I do crave chocolate, I crave sweets, and I feel good.
This was just his advice, and you were saying Spirit said trust the science. This is stuff that he was doing through science with EEG machines and stuff like this. The other thing he was studying, and it seems to be a lot of females, not necessarily males, but females for some reason. He was trying to discover this, why, again, a high percentage, I believe he said almost 90% of females doing this type of work seem to have some type of autoimmune health issue. Whether it's fibromyalgia, whether it is rheumatoid arthritis. He went through a whole bunch of things, and he was getting into what was causing that. We need water. We need water when we're doing this too, right?
You do.
We need a lot of water.
Mm-hmm. Water is very important. You do. Whenever I go into a reading, I never just run out of the kitchen whenever I was doing or watch YouTube and run into my reading. I always have. I don't have to do a lot now because I've been doing this for a while. But I do take time to sit there, like, and I sit in the power in the morning sometimes, and I do sitting in the power, and that's just normal. That lasts the whole day. But I'll do the little short things. I do the meditation where I let the spirit world come really, really close to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm in my zone when I start to tingle. That's because it's different for everybody.
The only reason I brought all this up is because of the talk about this mediumship cause stress. So maybe for you, that's where you like to be, and it doesn't cause stress. There's quite a few people that do mediumship in the chat are saying that they're not experiencing these issues. Now, again, does it mean it's true or not true? Maybe it's true for the person that shared that for you. Yeah. Now, this is a good question. Contessa Martin, is it true that once you open your third eye, there is no turning back? I got to say, you are a powerful individual. All of us are. I have seen people say, no way, don't like doing this. It scares me. I want nothing to do with it. And have literally said,
no, shut it down. Yeah.
Shut it down.
I believe you. Yeah, I believe I'm with you on that, Lorilei. I do think that you can shut it down. The only thing that I haven't been able to shut down is my near-death experience, but I don't want to. I mean, that's a whole other idea. That's a whole other show. But I agree.
That was purposeful, though, David, not on your part. I mean, nobody would choose to have a near-death experience on purpose. But it was life-changing for you. Like, it would be pretty hard to say, I renounce that experience. I guess people could, depending on, we're that powerful if you really wanted to, but you really had so many positives come from it.
Yeah, we won't know. I will say this with what you're talking about, the third eye. Okay. Because I'm just weird, you guys. But a lot of times when I hear people talking about open third eye and closed third eye, in my mind, closed third eye means I refuse to have anything to do with spirituality. And open third eye means I have everything to do with spirituality. So I think everybody has the spirituality in them because every human being, whether they like it or not, is extremely intuitive. Everybody knows, everybody has these gifts. So it's just, I think when we say open the third eye, I think that's when we're saying we're accepting all the gifts. We're accepting every gift.
100%. Yeah. Because I'll tell you, and I asked these questions, said these things many years ago myself, because we hear others who talk about that once my third eye was open. You know what? Yes, I guess. Again, I'm going to get, and I didn't make this up. Spirit gave me this years ago. Yeah. What we perceive becomes what we believe, and it becomes our reality. You are open. We are all intuitive. We all didn't have to acknowledge at birth. I'm going to open my third eye now so I can be intuitive, so I can trust my gut, so I can do all this stuff, right? Human beings.
Yeah. And like Julie Bassett. Yeah. Julie Bassett said you can shut up. Do you know what? People ask me that all day long. I don't understand for some people, but I'm not them. But when I leave here, like if Lorilei were to come over to my house and we'd say, hey, let's go to the amusement park, and we didn't talk about spirit all day, I'm not going to sit there and talk about spirit all day. I can shut it off. I don't have to if I don't want to. Now, with that being said, there are times where I am not thinking about it, and yes, they're just there.
I have a relative, well, I might as well just say it, one of my kids, when he was growing up, and he is very, very intuitive. He's been able to communicate with animals since he was little. Both of my kids have. Is it a special gift? No, I think all kids can do that. But my point is, he got to the point where he just said, I want nothing to do with this. I am turning it off.
Yep.
And we had the conversation, because I'm going to get to your comment, Roger, in a minute, and that it's a gift. And you have that right. You have free will. If you really...
Well, you don't have to honor your gift.
So I knew intuitively myself as his mother that was going to be something he probably wasn't going to do for the rest of his life. But should he have chosen that, I honored it, because he has free will. Just because he's my child doesn't mean I get to tell him that you must be doing this. This is who you are. I'm not going to say that. So with that being said, Roger, you said you were given a gift. You must honor your gift. No, I don't think you have to honor the gift.
But
well, just let me finish and you jump in, Dave. Yeah. We have free will. So if you don't use it, I believe you will lose it. It's like a muscle. But the thing is, you don't have to do anything. There'll be consequences for your actions. I'm not
Yeah,
talking
there
about
will be.
spiritual gifts.
Yeah.
I'm talking about you don't follow the laws, you might end up in jail. But with your spiritual gift, we have free will for a reason. Go ahead, Dave. I know you had lots to say.
No, and that's no. I know, I agree, but there's something, Roger. Let's put it this way, because I know where you're coming from, Roger. Because I would be the same. That's kind of how I thought years ago. But it says you are given a gift, you must honor your gift. If we change that to you are given a gift, you must honor yourself. That's how I put it. If yourself says, I can't handle this and I don't want to do it, that's your free will to do it. But the gift, it's okay if you don't use a gift, because like Lorilei said, if you don't use something for a long time, eventually it's going to fade away. You have to work on this. I work on it every day. Lorilei works on it every day because it's part of our business. Roger, you work on it every day. But there are people out there who have it and they can't handle it. And that was me at the beginning of life. In the beginning of life as a child, I got a lot of stuff. I didn't want anything to do with it. So I understand what you're saying. I went through most of my life going, I don't hear that. I don't know. I don't want anything to do with it.
But think about it. Okay. When we give a gift in the true spirit of giving a gift, right? Do we have strings attached to it? No, we should not. Do you think that where we came from, being honored with this gift, that there's strings attached with it? This is coming from spirit right now. Yeah. It's a gift. You choose to accept it and receive it. Maybe you're not ready to use it at that time. You can put it up on what I call the proverbial back shelf, or we can choose to say no, thank you, I believe. And again, I could be all wrong. I don't know everything. But this is what I'm getting from spirit right now. There's no strings attached to it.
Yeah, there's none. Well,
you're a musical prodigy. You can play music. You could be sharing your music with the world. And you say that not anybody, I'm this proverbial you out there. I choose not to play music. I don't want to get involved in that world. I've always wanted to, drive a dump truck. I'm not going to use the music. I'm not going to sing. I'm not going to play like the prodigy that I was at 4 years old, the piano, whatever. Is it wrong? No. If you really choose, that's not what you want to do. But are you going to be able to sing and maybe play the music the way you did when you were using it all the time? Probably not. You're going to have to work to get it back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. A lot of people like there's people like I know people that, okay, you'll see, like we have all these singers on TV we watch and all that, but I know very normal people who sing way better than these rock stars who are singing all over. And you know what people say to them all the time? Oh, you missed your calling. I always say, no, they didn't miss their calling. Maybe their calling was to go away from it. Maybe that was their calling. So we got to just kind of put whatever feels to you. And I know it's not, for me personally with my beliefs, Roger, I mean, yours could be different and that's okay. I don't think it's going against God at all.
Well, I'll highlight that sec because I think that's a good question. So Linda says, and hi, Linda, you popped in. We got in this discussion. We didn't get a chance to say hi. She says it's opening abilities like intuition. You can choose if you want to trust your abilities or not. I love that. So Roger, you're saying, isn't going against God's gift to you? Isn't it going against God's gift to you is what he's asking. Dave, you were starting to answer that. And then same thing he's going. And then we've got Michelle. We got great questions as always, guys.
You guys rock. You guys rock. I love these conversations.
He goes, yes, Lorilei, I understand shelving it, but does it go against the spirits? No, because who has that hold over you? You're here for a reason. And again, I'm not telling you you're wrong or you're right, but in my mind and what I'm receiving from spirit, you're not going against anybody. The same reason why we have guides. Guides don't come here and tell us what to do. They can be there for us to support us and work more closely with us. And we can ask them a question. Should I do this? Should I not? Most of the times they're not going to tell us to do something or they may suggest or help you figure something out, but they're not going to tell you what to do. You see what I'm saying? You're here to have an experience. Where we're connecting to the other side is pure love. I don't think there is what's going to happen if you don't follow it. Life may not turn out the way maybe that path could have turned out, but you have the opportunity to come here and make choices. You have free will. And I don't think you're, and again, I could be wrong, but I truly believe that God is love. Source is love.
It is. It's
Whatever
love.
you want to call it. You're not going to go back there and he's not going to admonish you like a small child and say, what
Yeah.
the heck were you doing? I gave you all these incredible gifts and you didn't use them. How dare you? I do not believe that will
No,
happen.
that doesn't exist. Not in my religion anyway. And you know, you guys, like I said, to go back to this, in the beginning of my life, I could see ghosts. I could hear ghosts. My family could hear them in my house. They were there. I didn't like it later on. I wanted to be normal, so I went against it. And then it came back to me again. And I had asked before, why didn't you just keep on me and do that? And they said, because you weren't ready and you didn't want it.
Yeah.
And
So
said,
at
no,
the time,
that made absolute sense. I said, no, and I never yell at them. I'm like, no, damn right. Thank you for letting me live a normal muggle life for that many years and screwing up as much as I can, because it really did help me now that I'm using the gifts again.
It's the other thing, and don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect in any way, shape, or form, but you have to remind myself something sometimes when things don't happen the way I want it to happen, or when it happens, it happened when it was meant to happen. That was the right time for it to happen. Same thing for you, right? When it happened and it's happened the way it has, it was the right time for you. Or like Julie's saying, we have free will. We can choose to do or what we want to do. Absolutely. Roger did say thank you, point well taken. And there's nothing wrong with what you're sharing, Roger. That's your belief system. That's your belief system, and nobody has the right to tell you it's right or wrong, because none of us have all the answers. We don't. So Shannon says,
I had to go through a lot. I had to give up a lot of my belief systems that I grew up with, that I was told, that I was like, oh, maybe that stuff isn't right. And it's okay for them to have it, but it's not my belief. And that's just it. So yeah, I agree with Lorilei. You can have your belief system, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I don't have the right to tell you you're right or wrong.
Yeah.
This is what makes this show so much fun. We get to have hear people's perspectives and have a discussion, but we're never going to tell you, we may not agree with you. We're saying, no, we believe it's this or it's that, but none of us know all the answers. I don't think any of us will.
No, we don't. No, there's a million answers out there too, like 30 billion. Mm-hmm. Just today, there was.
And all we can share with you is what we've experienced ourselves, or how it works for ourselves, or, when we're working with different people or teaching and mentoring, what they've shared their experience to be. But it doesn't mean maybe you're going to experience it completely differently or not experience it. And that's okay. We're all here for a reason. And again, I believe we have free will. There's consequences for our decisions, usually in the physical world. I'm not dealing so much with the spiritual side of things, but you do have free will. You can choose to break every law on the planet. There's going to be consequences for it. Again, with the spiritual world, I think the main thing is, even when we have a life review, which we all eventually do once we go back home, what did you learn? What did you learn from that experience? What did you take from that experience? Right?
Yeah, and it's so fast too. So it's
what's that?
And it said it's so fast.
But you're not going to be punished for no. You're here to experience, learn, and grow.
They showed me all kinds of shit. They showed me all kinds of stuff that I did during that little bit of review that I had, and I also got to feel how I made other feel how other people felt around me because of my actions, and that's what made me go, oh, I get it. Nobody said, oh, you're bad. I just said, oh, I get it. They're like, cool. Now I can go back and be a different person. I'm like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah. You're not going to.
That's simple. That was that.
And the same thing. And again, we all come from different backgrounds and religion. Some of us come from religious backgrounds, whatever it is, that's okay. We're here to, and I don't believe what I believed 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
No, I don't either.
And that's the beauty in it. So like I said, and we've told you this for anybody new, maybe we haven't mentioned it recently, but when we started the show, we told everybody many times, we're not experts. No. We're sharing with you
our experiences.
Our experiences and what we believe we've received from spirit. And we're going to share it with you what we've had. And we don't always agree, Dave and I. That's okay. You guys have different opinions too. And that's okay too.
And that's okay, yeah.
So Michelle says, how do you unblock it? And I believe you're referring to your third eye and your abilities, right? So some of the ways that you can do this is, and when David was saying that we make this a daily practice, like I know Julie does, and Roger, and anybody, I'm just calling out a few people I know that work actively in the field right now. There's certain things you have to do, right? Practice of gratitude, practice of meditation. I think Diane Brighton mentioned about the chakras. You know, there's many meditations you can listen to. I work with the chakras. I'm not trying to drum up business here. I'm just saying there's many different ways to get to it, right? You want to raise your vibration. You want to start healing yourself, working with, you know, a lot of stuff that we hang on to, especially through childhood, or a lot of hurts, working on forgiveness. And there's all kinds of things. The main thing is, right, I don't think it can steer you wrong when you start, you know, focusing on love, focusing on self-love, those types of things, okay? Because once we start to learn how to do these things, and it's a lifelong process, is we start to raise our vibration. I used to hate to hear that in the beginning. It's like, what the heck does that mean? But it really, it's energy, raising your energy by healing maybe what's weighing you down, and working with it. And then you take some courses, work with a variety of different mentors.
Yeah, so we can both.
Go ahead, Dave. Jump in.
We can both not stress that enough. Work with a lot of different things, a lot of different people, because everybody's got a different way of seeing things, and you're going to find what you need to see in order for you to do what you need to do. But if you just stick with one person, like you could just stick with one mentor and go, oh my God, I'm terrible at this. I'm just not picking it up. Not knowing that if you would have learned from this person, you might have understood what that person was saying and been like really amazing. So do a lot of different people. I'm going to add one more thing. If you want to reopen your third eye, we'll say it like that. You want to unblock your third eye. This would be, thank you. Joy makes me vibration. That's how I look at it. Jackie Lane says connecting with joy.
Thank you, Jackie Lane, 100%.
But if you really want to open up your third eye and you say, how can I get it back? This is my suggestion. And I find it probably works for just about anybody. Pick a subject in the metaphysical that kind of gets you, that you're interested in, and then go down that rabbit hole. Start going down that rabbit hole. As soon as they go, ooh, she's interested in that, they can sense that, you'll start getting more and more. Then you'll get another.
One thing I do want to point out, now, again, if it resonates, go for it. If not, that's okay. But what I was going to say is, because we have free will, okay, the other side respects that. So one thing I did, I know, and a lot of people I've shared this with has helped at times, is to give permission to your guides and your team, the angels, the other side, okay, and light and love, that you want to know them more closely. You want to work more closely with them. They're here to help you make the most out of your experience. So for example, when I was going down this journey, and this puppy is no longer with me, very sadly, Miley. David, you've heard me talk about Miley many times. You had a Miley too, your mom did.
Yeah, we had a Miley too, yeah.
So when she was a very small puppy, she had a pee-pee accident. It was a perfect heart. Okay, I took a picture of it. People, when they see it, still won't believe me that it was a pee-pee accident on a rug. For some reason, I decided that that was going to be my sign from my team to let me know that I was on the right path. I have a whole album. One of these days, maybe I'll pull it out when we always have more than enough to talk about. But so I have found perfect hearts in a coffee spill on the counter, a little piece of paper on the floor, a rock that's a perfect heart, all over the place, big, small, you name it. And I've started taking pictures of it. And I usually stop and I say, thank you, Spirit. I appreciate that. So where I'm going with this is, right, that's one way, like, and I'm supporting what David said. So once you start to notice or drawn to something, Spirit recognizes that. They will help you build off of it, but give them permission to work more closely with you.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, ask. Yeah, give permission. Another thing too is one last thing on this one is to become aware. And it's just like, if Lorilei probably would have missed all those signs of that puppy if she not would have been aware, because she saw it. She's like, this meant something to her. She was now aware of this. So when it started coming in, she got more and more aware. When you're really aware of something, Spirit goes, oh, okay, here you go. She'll see this. She'll see this heart. We got to get Lorelei's attention. Let's throw her a heart. Then they know. they know she's going to get it.
Julie made a good point, and all of you guys are making great points here. She said, also be open to receive the info, however spirit wants to send it to you. And the other thing I always say, build with something small. If you ask spirit, they will deliver. You could ask them to send you a name or something over a week to let them, it's spirit. And I can tell you, it's happened to me. It's happened to many people. Spirit will comply. If you're really open to receiving from spirit, okay, and giving them permission that I want to work more closely with you. I want to know you more. I want to be a team together. And don't get me wrong, they're always there as your team.
Yeah, always.
But they try to stand in the background and let you live your life. Not that they're going to take over your life when you give them permission, but they'll step more forward so that you will connect more closely with them. Jackie says same thing. Listening to dreams. Roger.
You guys, I'm going to tell you guys. I'll tell these guys a quick story. This very quick story. So, I'm known for its clairaudience. Okay, I do a lot of clairaudient work. But in the beginning, I was doing all clairaudient work. That's the only thing I concentrated on was clairaudient work. And then one day during a reading, guess what happened? Nothing came in. Mm-hmm. Literally nothing came in. And I sat there and I was like, oh, where did it go? And then I started noticing, I got through the reading, but then I started noticing, I started seeing more stuff. And then I started smelling stuff. Anyway, I was getting too dependent on one certain clair. And because I always tell you that your team is always teaching you. So be aware. You don't just have to learn it from YouTube or something else. Your spirit team will teach you things. So they like took away my clairaudience for a while. I thought I sucked. I'm like, oh, there we go. It's all gone now. It's done. No, it just came in other ways. Now, when I do readings, I don't ask for any certain thing.
But they knew, David, inherently, obviously, that you were ready.
That I was ready to get, and that's exactly it. They knew I was ready to take on other things.
Spirit will always meet you where you're at. And I'm going to read a few comments here too, because Roger's right too. That's the key element about what we do. That's on the other side. It's all love. I always say you can't go wrong if you truly are coming from a place of love in service to others. Okay. Yep. You can't go wrong. Jackie Lane, absolutely. Listening to dreams. Where did I pull out books? I've got books, pens by the bed. And I always know by the time my feet hit the ground, I'm going to forget. So just jot a few things down. Julie says, and when they deliver, acknowledge it and thank them for the message. I talk to spirit all day long.
Yeah. No, Julie's right. Julie, do you know how many times a day I say thank you?
Yeah.
It is all day long because I do gratitude. And see how happy I am now? Just thinking about that, it makes me happy. I have a high vibration. It's just like when you
getting outside though too, right? Then it just made me think of that, David. Happiness, joy, everything you guys are saying, working on things. Are you angry at someone? Are you hanging on to grudges? Literally, our language gives us a lot of clues to what's going on. What are you feeling weighed down with? Do you have a monkey on your back? There's all kinds of things we can say, but addressing that and working on healing it, working on letting it go. You don't ever have to forgive somebody that's hurt you in the way of what they've done to you. But as a human being, as who they are, working on forgiveness, letting go, and even examining, say you've got some blockages in your life. Maybe it's your abilities. Maybe it's not being able to. I think our birthright is we should be able to manifest things like abundance and joy and happiness. And if you're not, maybe start looking into the root and maybe why that's not happening.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's our birthright.
Yeah, because if you look at it, the world has enough food. We are really not out of food. The world has enough food. There does not have to be poor people. There does not have to be harm. But we fall into these belief systems. And then we have large, groups of people who want to control other people with their belief systems, blah, blah, blah. We could go on and that one, a whole nother show. But I do think that I do
Well,
think
Shannon, you guys, I was going to read this earlier. You're so sweet, Shannon. She goes, as you were talking about love, and Emmy came over and kissed me, Laura. She goes, it was so cute.
yeah.
Actually.
And you know what? People don't understand. I mean, even though we have spooky stuff happening, we love to play with spooky stuff. And we love that because it's whole part of spirituality. It's part of what we're doing here. It's part of our experience here. But everything we do comes from a place of love, always. Always, always,
One
always.
thing I do want to add that Spirit keeps reminding me, especially tonight, is give yourself grace and be good and kind to yourself, because nothing can feel more difficult than when you really feel like you want to connect to your guides and your team in the other side, and you feel like it's not happening. Then what do? We start to stress about it. We start thinking, why isn't it happening? Why isn't it like you're in a classroom, everybody's having these experiences, and there's always a few people that don't. That doesn't mean you're broken. I've heard that before. Why is this not happening? I'm not meant to be here. Of course you're meant to be here. If you were there, you were meant to be there. But I really believe that these abilities are meant to flow like water, if you will.
Yeah.
Just like everything else, when you try and force it or you stress about it, and trust. If you can't trust anything that maybe, it's a coincidence, I didn't hear it right, I don't know if it's right, whatever, just trust that it will happen. And it is happening.
I can tell you, as many years as I've been doing this now, I've had times where I went and sat down to do a reading, and for some reason it was like slow going, and I would start trying to go, no, where is it? And I'll be like, oh no, just relax, because if you don't relax, it is harder to hear.
I told David this, and I'll tell all of you guys this. Mediumship is one of my newer abilities, and there's still times now, like if I have to do a psychic reading, that's nothing. Like that's like going
it's easy. Yeah.
But mediumship, I will stress about it sometimes. And I've realized to learn that a person is working with me because we were meant to find one another. There is a reason for this. And spirit always comes through.
Yeah,
so you have to just be open to trusting that this is happening for a reason, and you are doing it, and it is coming to you. And even though it can feel frustrating, and I've been there years ago, when am I going to open my third eye? What's the name of my guides? What are the name of the angels around me? I've done it. We've all done it.
Yeah, we all have done it. We all have. We've all been there. Every one of us. Yeah. I was going to tell you, I think it was last year. I think I told you about this. I had these two sisters from, I believe it was New York or Jersey, and they had a phone reading with me, and they heard about me through somebody else. So, I started the reading, and the people started coming through. And it was kind of weird because they didn't really have anybody in particular. They were just kind of like, oh, we just like to do this once a year for fun. So they weren't really concentrating on anybody. So I had these people coming and I'd say it just like, well, I didn't know what they asked. Do you know what their name is? What street did they live on? I mean, there were these people going on over and over. But then and it was kind of a tough reading for a minute. But then all of a sudden I kept hearing mom. And I said, somebody keeps saying mom to me. She goes, well, our mom's still alive. And I said, I get that, but they keep saying mom over and over and over and over. And I got really worried about it. I said, is your mom okay? And she goes, well, she's sick. She's at her house. She was like 86 or whatever. I said, would you call your mom, please? Please call your. I said, just stop the reading. I'll refund your money. Go call your mom. So they call her mom. Her mom's okay. And I was like, okay. So they come back again. And I started again. And I said, you know what? I keep hearing mom over and over. I do not know why mom over and over. So I'm going to return your money. I told him, I said, I'm going to return your money. It was almost the whole hour we were there. But I said, here's your money and here's a code. You go ahead and make a free appointment with me. It's on me. Okay. And they're really sweet. They said, oh, no problem. No problem. I got off the phone. I called. My mom was sick. My mom was really
your
sick.
Mom.
And it was my
mom.
happened
to me recently. Okay.
I was hearing her through the whole, her soul needed me to call over there. And that's what that whole thing was.
But you figured it out. And this is what I was going to share to support what you're saying. I wasn't even planning. This wasn't a paid reading or anything, but it was a client of mine who'd lost someone very near to them. And it wasn't something that I would ever just send a message to. So I called them. And while we were talking, they received a pet of this deceased person. Now, this little one was bequeathed to them, but this little one had to go to the vet. They didn't know where this vet's office was or anything. And I said, well, I haven't really, because I have a process, as we all do, kind of opening up and connecting and whatever, right? And they said, do you know what vet clinic this is at? And I said, no. And I'd never been to the city. And I said, okay, they are going on and on and on and on about this tree. This tree is in front. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying this. This tree is in the front of the building. It's right in front of the building. And they mentioned this couple different things. I said, I'm not getting a name. It's a tree. And they said, well, one of them, and it was a really bright color. And they said, is it this one? I said, I don't know. I said, do you have the address? They said, yeah. I look it up. And the message I was getting, I get my things usually if they're going to send me a picture in color. This was in all shades of gray and black and white. I said, I don't know what color it is. I'm just explain the color. First of all, the person we were connecting with on the other side, I did not know was colorblind. Number one clue. So no color. Second thing, I look it up. The one, she gave me a bunch, but I said, give me the address of the one that you think it might be. I look it up. What's in front of it? A tree. Guess what? It was the right building. But the thing is, I didn't know this person was colorblind, but I think the reason why they gave it in shades of gray and black and white, because the person I was giving them the message to would know that. They knew that. They knew that they weren't going to give me a color from the other side. The tree was there. And this person had already called every vet clinic in the city. And all I kept hearing was, bring this little pet with you. They'll recognize the pet and you will know. And it ended up being the right clinic. But this is the beauty in it, where we're going with these stories for everyone listening is, David, you kept thinking it was your clients. And meanwhile, it was your own mom.
It was my own mom.
Me, I didn't know what the shades of gray and black and white meant with the tree in front. But the person I was giving the message to did. So you just got to be open to it.
I am. When I've done readings before, and I've like evidential with no name. And then at the end, they would say, they would go by and I'd say, well, what was his name? Because I never got it. And they said, David. Their name was David. And I'm like, really? I wonder why I didn't get that. Well, I started paying attention. And then one reading I got on there and we started talking. We were laughing a little bit before I started the reading. And I was doing that. I kept seeing I kept getting memories of me, but they were just memories of me. And I'm like, what? And I noticed this has been happening more and more. So for the hell of it, I said, hey, I don't know if this is right, but I think your dude's trying to give me a name, and I think his name's David. And she goes, you're absolutely correct. And I'm like, instead of him saying David or doing David, he just had me think of me over and over and over. I'm like, oh my gosh. So, I mean, it's weird how things work.
But that's the beauty in this, because every soul we connect to on the other side is different. But I think Julie wrapped it up beautifully. You guys, we're out of time after this.
Yeah, we are.
I'm so sorry. It goes by so quick. So, Julie, I think this is imperative what you shared, and thank you. She goes, the other thing is we are all different. We all have different gifts that are our strengths. It is important not to compare to anyone else.
Absolutely.
Imperative.
Everybody does it different. You just let them do. But anyway, you did give your little message in the beginning. But if you'd like to know more about me, you can visit.
Talking about our group, Dave.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's another thing too. Guys, when please, if you are on Facebook, look up the thing in the foot of the bed with Lorilei Potvin and David Potvin with Lorilei and David Hanzel. You can go in there, you can post, you can see any videos that we show on there. You can say, tell us stories, meet other like-minded people. It is a private group. Once we get up to 200 people, Lorilei and I will be visiting the group and doing some lives and doing some fun card pulls and some readings for you guys. So please join us there. And that's it on that one. If you'd like to know more about me, you can visit my website, theywhispertome.com. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok under @Medium David Hanzel. If you're under TikTok, if it has less than 95,000 followers, then it's not me. My Facebook group is A Spirit Experience, and my YouTube channel is They Whisper to Me. Take it away, Lorilei.
Okay, so if you guys are enjoying what you're hearing, please stay tuned for the second night of The Outer Realm with the amazing Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano coming up right after this. You guys have left such great comments. See, we had a completely different show planned for you guys today, but whatever you guys want. But and I'm sure Dave won't say no to this. I didn't ask him ahead of time. But you guys, if you have more questions like this, we've got people in the group that do this type of work. Julie, Roger, I'm just pulling names out of the top of my head. That can also offer advice. If you want, you've got questions like this, you can put them in the group, or this is what I was going to suggest, and we'll see if you guys want to start practicing some intuitive games, or we'll put, say, 3 pictures up or a picture from the past, and you tell us what you pick up. There's no pressure. There's no right or wrong answer. Dave and I can do stuff like that. Or you got questions, or you got show ideas, you got anything like that. But we seem to be talking about this more and more, which Dave and I love to talk about, don't we, Dave?
Oh, yeah, we can talk about it. Yeah, we can do this all for the next.
Yes, so ask away. That group is yours. So you guys make it what it is. So if that's what you guys want to do, or you got questions, or you want to know, say, how to balance your chakras, or, you know, what does a shaman do? How do I work on healing, say, my childhood, or things, you know, throughout my life, or anything like that, you know, not just what we talked about tonight. You can ask in the group, please do.
Yeah, and you can get all kinds of opinions from all kinds of people, and pick and choose what you need.
Yeah, send, say you got ideas for the show, or you guys got some videos you want us to review. We got a couple videos for next week. And
Michelle said, what is the group again? Our group is also called The Thing at the Foot of the Bed on Facebook. It's the Thing at the Foot of the Bed with Lorilei Potvin and David Hanzel.
Yeah, and we'd love to have you join us. Is Outlander a true story? I don't know. We can get into that next week.
Well, we can get into that next week if you like.
And hi, Mesh. We just saw you. She's not listening at work. It's Friday over there in Australia. So thank you for joining us, everybody, tonight. We love having you here. You guys make the show what it is. So we really appreciate it. I want to wish everybody in Canada. I'm wearing my I think it says, not sorry, I'm Canadian, because it's Canada's birthday on July the 1st. And then our brothers and sisters in the United States, it's the USA's birthday, July the 4th. So you guys, happy birthday if you're celebrating. Also, if you ever want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on facebook.com/The Angel Rock, or better yet, just message me on Facebook Messenger or any social media platform under Lorilei Potvin or The Angel Rock. I am working on a website domain name. So anybody out there in internet land, I can do a website, but I just don't have enough time. So if somebody out there does that for a reasonable price, I'd be happy to work with you, because I want to get one up that's one-stop shopping, because I'm getting busier. So I need something that will work. Also, Monday night, still don't know what's going on yet with the weather. So my guest canceled. So I'm hoping to do a hangout with y'all. That's July the 1st, though. It's Monday. It's a holiday in Canada. So I'm planning on being live with you for the Angel Rock from 6 to 8 p.m. But if we do go out to camp, I will put up a really good replay, I promise. One that probably a lot of you haven't seen, but more than likely I will be live. I think that's everything. I think, right?
That's it.
Anyways.
So you guys, stay spooky.
Stay spooky. Okay, you ready, Dave?
We'll try it. 1, 2, 3. What's at the foot of your bed?
I don't know.
I think we might have been close on that
one. Done it.
We'll have to listen. You know what I'm going to do? One of these days, I'm going to go listen to the end of one of ours.
Are we going to be live? That's a good question, Jennifer M. I believe. I know I'll be here. How about you?
Yeah, I can. I don't do anything on the 4th. So, yeah.
We'll be here. We'll be here. One of us will be here. Both of us will be here. We'll be here.
Yeah,
promise.
We'll be here somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, you guys.
All right. Love you guys. Stay tuned for Michelle and Amelia next. Okay. We'll see you next week. We love you all. Stay safe and have a great weekend. Okay.